South Central Community Development District helped get the $420,000 grant, for which the city thanks them. There's no published timeline yet for when those sirens will be installed. Columbia will also hold 2 public beautification events this month. People can come pick up trash from 8 to 10 a.m. on April 12th, starting at the corner of East 7th and Woodland Streets, and at the same time on April 26th in the Arts District, starting at the library. The library will also host 2 anti-littering awareness events for young children from 10 a.m. to noon on April 15th and 26th. And last on our front page, the Columbia Fire Department just welcomed its first 2,000-gallon water truck. This truck, which is also equipped with a pump to fight fires with, will be deployed alongside 2 county tankers to help fight fires on either side of the urban growth boundary. The city's new mutual aid agreement with the county will protect an additional 9,000 residential and commercial buildings which aren't within 500 feet of a hydrant with the required flow. On our other pages, the Ag Extension building at Yanali Park will host several events starting this month. Jill Giles was named CFO and Corporate Secretary for First Farmers and Merchants Bank. Ominous-looking funnel clouds photographed by private citizens threatened Spring Hill, Mount Pleasant, Culleoka, and the county last week, but thankfully they never touched down. Lester Hill Credit Union sponsors Columbia State Athletics to the tune of $5,000. The State Historical Commission just awarded a $95,000 preservation grant to the Battle of Spring Hill Civil War site. The advocacy group A Kid's Place, which just opened an office in Columbia, want people to know that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. And our own Ms. Cheap wants your family to know about 6 free of charge recreational events that they can attend in the greater Nashville area this month. That's the news for this week. Check out this week's Mule Day photos and last week's full section on the holiday for featured articles. Thank you for watching, and here are sports.
Hey, I'm Maurice Patton, sports editor at Main Street Maury. This week's print edition of Main Street Maury, that would be the April 9th edition. We've got some coverage of Mount Pleasant baseball and softball. They were in action late last week, and previously you probably would not have expected them to be, but with the artificial turf that has been installed on both of their at both of their facilities this year, those games were much easier to get in for Misty Grooms and for Lee Williams, and they and their players talk about that and the convenience that comes with that new artificial turf on both of those fields. So be sure and check that coverage out. We've also got some coverage. Former Columbia Central student, 1960 graduate Ron McKinney was recognized by the TSSAA with their Distinguished Service Award. McKinney has been a tennis official for the past several years and was recognized again by the high school organization for that. We've got coverage of that courtesy of John Bryce, who puts those articles together for the TSSAA. So be sure and catch up with Ron McKinney and what he's been doing for high school tennis across the state. We've also got updates on Williamson County girls flag football action. They will be getting into county-wide competition beginning this week. They've been playing some games against some metro programs and some other programs across the mid-state, but they will now be getting into their district action starting on Wednesday. So be sure and check out their results and their schedule for this week. Also, got some Larry Woody coverage per usual. Check all of that out as well. Online this week, we will have our spring sports coverage. We'll have some baseball. We'll have some softball. Got a couple of soccer signings out there. All of that will be at the website at mainstreetmurray.com. And in next week's print edition, also be sure and check early next week online. And in next week's print edition, we will have our Main Street Murray all-area boys and girls basketball teams. So be sure and check that out as well. I'm Maurice Patton, sports editor for Main Street Murray. We'll see y'all.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
The Lawrence County Advocate Rap starts this week with April being proclaimed Child Abuse Prevention Month all across southern Middle Tennessee, and that includes Lawrence County. STRHS has released its community benefit report. An illegal tire dump near the Lawrence-Wayne County line has approximately 10,000 tires. And finally on the front, Loretta's water has been chosen the best tasting water. Inside, the remaining prints from the late Howard Johnston, who was the photographer, the beloved photographer here at the Lawrence County Advocate. Those remaining prints are going to be available for free at an event that's planned April 26th and 27th. All that inside this week's edition. STRHS is set to host a free community health fair. Deputies serving a warrant issue drug charges. Rabies clinics are available during April. A Follow the Cross event is set for April the 18th, and the Doggy House needs a commercial dishwasher. Rotary hosted Lawrence County EMS's Kane Watkins recently. Collection locations have been announced for the Toys for Tot literacy program. The Loretto Council considers a billboard ordinance. The Lawrence County Schools drone competition winners have been announced. Neil Beard tells us about a Bible theme park in North Carolina that he's visited. Henry's Corner is about the Dozer the Goat, and the Senior Center is celebrating the 1940s. And as always, the Lawrence County Advocate has obituaries, community announcements, government notices, auctions, and estate sales. The forecast from our friends at Tennessee Valley Weather. We're back to 2 pages once again, of puzzles and comics, and we have the local church directory. Now moving to sports. Summertown softball shut out Loretto last week as part of an early season run that has the Lady Eagles at 19-3-1 coming into the week, including a spring break trip that they took to the Gulf Coast Classic. We've got a lot of that information in this week's sports. The Lady Mustangs rebounded from that loss with a win at Lexington, Alabama. The Summertown tennis team continues its winning ways. Lawrence County baseball finished last week 4-0 in district play, and Larry Woody takes a a look at a stinky subject, skunks. And so don't miss that in this week's Lawrence County Advocate. Again, don't forget that voting is underway for the 2025 Main Street Awards in Lawrence County. See the ad in this week's paper or visit lawrencecountyadvocate.net for more information. Well, that's it for the Lawrence County Advocate Wrap this week. We'll be right back after this.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
The Pulaski Citizen Wrap starts this week with our Citizen Spotlight, Lori Anthony, whose photo graces the spot of honor at the top and center of our front page. The County Commission is expected to consider recommendations on how to best use opioid abatement funds. That and other issues were considered by the Commission's Budget Committee last week, and we've got the article talking about all the stuff that came out of that meeting. The Shelter, Inc. opened its new facility for women and children seeking shelter from a domestic violence situations. It's been a 4-year process to get this house open, this facility open, but it is open, and it joins the shelter's Lawrenceburg facility to serve women in domestic violence situations. The annual Richland FFA plant sale is next week. We've got photos of the beautiful plants and all the details on when, where, and how you can get yours. Inside, as with our other communities in southern Middle Tennessee this week, Giles County officials gathered for the proclamation of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Trey Donovan delves into the recent release of documents from the JFK assassination. The Danticleer again looks back at simpler times in the life of Dan, Irving Fowler, and the gang. It's National Volunteer Week. Actually, it's a National Volunteer Month, And Margaret Campbell has an article this week on Rise Against Hunger. Sandy is our Pet Corner Pet of the Week. Richland School and Richland Elementary School have shared their Students of the Month with us, and Southside Elementary has shared their third 9-week honor roll. And as always, Pulaski Citizen has obituary notices, court docket, property transfers, government public notices, backward glances, fun and games, church directory, community briefs, Tennessee Valley weather, and church briefs. We've got all that, and we've got more, including sports. So here's Wade with sports this week.
What's up, folks? Wade Neely here, sports editor at the Pulaski Citizen. Time now for a look at what's in print and what's online for the April 9th edition of the Pulaski Citizen sports page. We got a lot of Richland coverage this week, and for good reason. We start things off with a final breakdown from the Lady Raider basketball season that was, as not one, but two Lady Raiders made their way onto the BCAT All-State Tournament squads. We caught up with Shelby Higgins, we caught up with Bailey Blair, and we also spoke to Richland Raiders head coach Chad Hall to kind of break down the honors. Shelby receiving that honor during her senior season to follow up a performance last year in her junior campaign. The junior Bailey Blair receiving her first All-State nod. So make sure you check that out. Kind of putting a bow on what was truly a fantastic season for the Lady Raiders, making their first state tournament appearance since 1993 and winning their first state tournament game since the mid-'80s. So be sure and check that out. But if you're also on the hunt for Raider soccer coverage, we have you covered. We couldn't squeeze it in print last week, so we told you guys we would get to it this week. And we have a jam-packed slew of recaps as Richland has battled to and from Linville and back in terms of district play, but they've also showed a lot of heart in all of their games. They've won their fair share. They've had to settle for a few draws along the way, but they've showed heart all along under first-year head coach Chip Rose. We spoke to head coach Chip Rose and talked about his team's performance, talked about what makes them tick, even talked about his tenure as a player as a former Giles County Bobcat, now coaching the Richland Raiders. But make sure you check that out. We have recaps of all of your latest Richland games on the soccer pitch. Be sure and check out our social media pages this week. Pulaski Citizen Live is set to return beginning tomorrow with softball coverage of Giles County. And stay tuned. We might even have a bonus broadcast coming up later in the week. That will be part of our online coverage. And also you can read about those games in print for next week. On the other side of town, Giles County, two of Giles County's football standouts inked their letters of intent to continue to play at the next level, as Aiden Jones and Ja'Kiah Inglet are off to the collegiate level. Ja'Kiah will ply his trade in Lebanon at Cumberland University, and Aiden signs with Union College out of Barberville, Kentucky. So make sure you check that out. Kind of, again, like our Lady Raiders, putting a bow on what was another fantastic season for the GCHS Bobcats on the gridiron. Bobcats head coach David O'Connor was on hand, as well as a slew of assistant coaches for that signing ceremony that took place. As always, we got words from our good friend Larry Woody, and if you missed any of our stories in print this week, you can catch them online at PulaskiCitizen.com. That's a recap of what's in print and what's online for the April 9th edition of the Pulaski Citizen Sports page. Wade Neely saying so long for now. We'll see you next time.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street.
Fred Gossiter in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center with your Wednesday forecast update. After starting in the 20s to 30s earlier this morning, we're recovering into the 40s and we'll eventually warm all the way up into the 60s by the afternoon for daytime highs. Few folks even knocking on the door close to 70 degrees, and we'll be into the 70s for our Thursday. Clouds increasing as we head into the overnight hours, so not dropping out of the upper 40s to lower 50s for morning lows. A few showers in toward the morning hours, but a better chance of scattered thunderstorms into the afternoon for our Thursday after a mostly sunny Wednesday here. Few of those storms in the afternoon, especially south of I-40, could have some gusty winds or small hail. Not expecting a big severe weather threat, however. Lingering showers with the low-level cloud deck into Friday, and then clearing skies for the weekend. After being in the 70s for Thursday, we drop back to the lower 60s Friday and Saturday, but we'll be knocking on the door of 80 degrees as we head toward the start of next week.
That's it for this week's Morning on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. Make sure you get your copy of your local newspaper online or in traditional form each week by getting us subscriptions. For more information on how to subscribe to any of our local newspapers, visit MainStreetMediaTN.com. That's MainStreetMediaTN.com for any of our newspapers. And again, we want to thank you guys for trusting us as your source for local news, events, sports, and more. And good Lord willing, we'll be right back here next week on Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.